I've never seen it. Zoom only.
No, really? Wow.
We hired them.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're on.
Thank you. Okay, I wanted to call the October 11th, 2021 Parkersburg Town Council meeting to order. All members of the council are present. We have one member of the council, Storm, is zooming at home. Kevin or Christian, could you do the reading, please?
I'll do it. Okay.
Go ahead.
Until further notice, the Corporation of Harpersburg governing and deliberative bodies will hold meetings and or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during the public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternately, the public may watch the meetings by YouTube, video live stream, or listen by telephone. These options comply with the Open Government Meetings Act. I don't know if we had people sign up.
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Christian. Since all of us are masked, I would like us to make sure that we speak loudly and slowly and as distinctly as possible. And we'll try to do the best that we can. My thanks to Debbie for coming in, and my apologies to everyone listening or watching for the technical difficulties, but this too shall pass. Approval of the agenda. Any modifications to the agenda before you? Hearing none, I'll have a motion to approve the agenda. I have a motion to approve from Chris. Do I have a second on the motion? Motion second. By Laurel, discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Storm?
Here it comes. I'll take it.
All right, thank you, Storm. 7-0. Public comment, there are none. Mayor's announcement, I just have one myself, and then Chris has one, and then followed by Kevin. My announcement is for those viewing or listening to this meeting who may not be aware, a lawsuit has been filed in the Circuit Court of Jefferson County, West Virginia. The plaintiff in the filing is listed as Public Asset Protection, Inc. The defendants are listed as the Corporation of Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, aka the City of Harpers Ferry, aka the Town of Harpers Ferry, the Town Council of the Corporation of Harpers Ferry. The necessary parties are listed as Swan Hilltop Operating Partners, LLC, Doe Parties 1-5. The lawsuit was e-filed September 17th, 2021 at 11:22 a.m. and listed as CC-19-2021-C-134, Jefferson County Circuit Clerk Laura Storm. Chris?
Yes, I just wanted to let everyone know that the next Canal Town partnership meeting is this Wednesday. I will be representing the town, but if any of you are interested in attending that, just let me know. I will see that you get the electronic invitation. It is on Zoom. And this will be a great opportunity to virtually meet Tina Capetta, the, I guess now not so new superintendent of the C&O National Historical Park. She took reins just right at the beginning of the pandemic, so she's still fairly new to us.
This meeting. Chris, what time is the meeting?
I'm sorry, that it's from 10 to noon. And again on Zoom. So if anyone is interested in attending, I'll be glad to get you an invitation.
What day was it?
It's Wednesday, day after tomorrow.
Okay. So if you're interested, council or anyone, contact Chris and he'll get you an invitation. Kevin?
Yes. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize that today is the second Monday of October. And since 2016, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry has designated the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples Day. We were the first municipality in West Virginia, or first local government of any level in West Virginia, to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day. I believe that this is something that should be promoted on a larger scale at the county, the state, the federal levels. But I just wanted to recognize that today we commemorate the first Americans. And I just read within the last 2 weeks that the city of Morgantown will be considering a resolution later this month to become the second municipality in West Virginia to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day on the second Monday of each October. So,
Thank you, Kevin. And I believe that there are only 8 states that have recognized it. I believe West Virginia as a state has done that yet. So we are leading the state along with Morgantown soon to come. Approval of minutes, you have 2 meeting minutes before you. Item 2A is the minutes of September 13, 2021. Any modifications to the minutes? Hearing none.
I move we accept the September 13th minutes as presented.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Second.
Who was the first one? Okay, Jim, did you second that?
I think Laurel.
Oh, okay. Laurel, okay, Laurel. Any discussion on the motion to approve the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. Storms up 7-0. Second set of minutes of the June 16, 2021 special council meeting. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second on the motion? Laurel?
I do have one
Okay, go ahead.
correction to that, to those minutes. I was not present at that meeting. Chris Craig should be listed as absent.
Well, that's important.
It's true. Good Kevin. That was the special meeting.
Any other modifications to that? Okay, so we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve with the modification, raise your hand. 7-0. Thank you. Item number 3A, review and approval of financial reports, August 2021. Deb?
So before I proceed, because we're using this camera that we're not used to, and Storm is not here, if we could make a shift just a foot this way, we can swing Kevin around to that corner and he can get in the camera. Yeah, that's good. Just move it out of the way so Christian can come down a little bit. Here, I'll take it. Got it? Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. This month's financials are for the month ending August 2021, which completes 2 months of our fiscal year, so that is 16%. For the water department, this set of financials includes the purchase of the early warning detection system equipment that has now been installed. This appears on line 620.3 plants materials. The installation fee will appear in the next month, in next month's financials. And then I'll be filing the grant paperwork with Department of Health and Human Resources this week, and that process will begin to have those funds reimbursed to us in full. Once we receive that money will appear on the income side grant line 421B, other grants. So taking that into account, the fact that we have the expense in there, we don't have the income, if I back all that out, we actually have our income running at right at 16%. So we're right on the mark there. We are still keeping an eye on line item 618, that's plant chemicals. That was a major purchase that was made, which will last a while. However, we have learned that there are a lot of fluctuations in the market, which do seem to be a result of COVID-19. Chris started working with our vendors to update bids and get some commitments for pricing in the coming months so that we have a little more control over that. And then if we do need to make any budget revisions, based on those projections when we do a budget revision for the water plant, for the water works that will be included. In the general fund, once we remove the carry forward balances, the income that we have realized to date is about 21.5%, and our expenses come to 15%. So that's all well within range. We've been notified that the first federal reporting requirement for the ARPA funding has been moved from the end of October to the end of April. And I will be attending budget training, the annual budget training session from the state auditor's office with Christian Petrinas at the end of October. And they will be including with us their parameters for establishing that budget. You know, it has to be its own budget, like the coal fund is its own budget and the general fund is its own budget. So they'll be instructing us about how to do that. And I'm sure we will go through approval process of that in its formal sense after that. And then we'll just do the next things that we need to do with regard to those monies. And we are completing our fiscal audit for 2019. So once that's done, we'll receive instructions from the state auditor's office to catch us up on the other two that need to be done. Any questions?
Any questions for them?
Can you say more about the audits? You're, what you say there's 3 audits, basically.
Yeah, our fiscal 2019 audit was put on hold because of COVID. And so that has just been reactivated as of about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we're in the final stages of closing that out. Once that is closed, then the state auditor's office will be sending us the paperwork that Budget and Finance will work with to bid out a contractor to audit either the next year or the next 2 years. Sometimes they do a 2-year cycle, sometimes they do a 1-year cycle. So we go through a bidding process and then we bring those results to town council. They approve our auditor, whoever that will be. And then we start the cycle of the next year. That's
I see. And do they audit all 3 budgets? Do they audit the office, the water budget, and the police budget?
well, the police and the office are all part of the general fund.
Okay.
And so they are auditing, but yes, they audit everything, the water as well as the general fund.
Okay, that's good.
Any other questions for them? I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial reports.
That's
Chris has a motion to approve. Do I have a second on the motion? We have a second from Christian. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
Aye.
Debbie, purchases over.
So we do not have any. I just want to update you on a few things that we had heard some emails about, and we talked about it in the last meeting. We had the elevator repaired. It worked for a day. It broke again. It came in under $500, so that wasn't a concern. That's why you don't have that invoice with you. I expect this repair will also fall. It's a very simple machine. There's 2 switches. It appears that they both have broken within a week of one another. So hopefully once we get that done, it won't be a big deal. And things will move forward smoothly. Our annual inspection for the elevator will come in February of this coming year. And then we did also go through a roof repair, and that invoice did also come in under $500. So that's why you don't have any of those details.
Thank you. Item number 4A, please.
All right, let me get the chief in for us here. Okay, Chief, you're muted, so if you want to unmute, then you can get started.
Good evening, council. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Just want to make a monthly report for the month of September. We had no accidents, no call outs, 8 assists, 52 citations were issued, and 111 incidents. Once again, it's always a pleasure. The mayor and I continue to meet monthly, or weekly, I'm sorry, every Thursday, discussing concerning issues with the town and the direction he would like us to continue. The have been during the lower town, walking around and doing the community cleaning as they were asked to do, and we continue to provide a service that I hope everybody's pleased with the council and the citizens in the corporation and all. as things continue to move forward. Like I said, it's been a pleasure meeting with the mayor and talking with some of the council members about some of the concerns that we're trying to address and get taken care of so we can continue to move forward. Are there any questions for me for the month of September, or any issues that you would like to address with me?
Chief Brown, this is Chris Craig. I was interested in the ATV complaint that was on the list. Where did that take place? Was that on paper streets or on the streets of Harpers Ferry?
There was an ATV complaint that came in that was during the, I believe it was during the festival that was held in Bolivar, where they were driving the ATV. I believe, I'm not 100% certain about that, but I believe that's when it occurred, that they were using some things in town. But as far as ATVs on public streets and all, the law has been passed that they are allowed to drive them on public ways and all in the state of West Virginia.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? I might add that in my weekly meetings with the chief, we discuss a lot of issues, and two of the issues that we discussed a couple times, I don't think there's one of us seated around this table or anyone viewing this meeting does not stop at the traffic light coming into Bolivar and waited for the left-hand turn and have not witnessed somebody blow through the red light, either a tractor trailer or something else. And I've asked the chief, I don't know if he's had an opportunity yet, to reach out to the chief deputy of Jefferson County and see if there's a way that when the sheriff's department is returning from the mountain, maybe just pull off on the side over there and just be visible for a couple minutes, a little bit of deterrence. The issue with the sheriff's department, obviously, is that they are obviously shorthanded and they do not really do patrolling. They only have a few deputies and they're answering one call from another. So it's not like the Harpers Ferry Police Department where we have patrolling going on. So the chief is going to reach out to the sheriff's department and see if there's some way just for a couple of minutes to sit there and maybe we can get the message across. Don't flow through these, because one of these days, somebody, either the sheriff or Harpers Ferry Police is going to be handling a triple homicide or a triple fatality there. So we just want to try to deter that. The other thing I've asked the chief to do is to reach out to the U.S. Department of Justice, and they have an office that's referred to as the Office of Justice Programs. This used to be the LEAA, which is the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration, where federal grants are given to local police departments to assist them. And most of the time, these grants involve purchasing large pieces of equipment like cruisers and weapons and ballistic vests. And they also provide grants in hiring. They will pay the full salary and benefits for a patrol officer for a limited period of time, and then the municipality will pick it up. And I've asked the chief to reach out to the Office of Justice Programs and see what's available for Harpers Ferry. And, if we don't ask, we cannot blame anyone but ourselves for not trying to get something. So anyway, thank you, Chief, and I appreciate everything you continue to do for the town.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the Ordinance Compliance Officer. You have that before you. I mentioned it last meeting, and I'm going to mention it again, that I've asked Kevin Hamilton to continue to monitor nuisance properties in the corporation and ensure compliance with 1109. And the main issue here is that nuisance properties, they actually have a negative effect on property values of adjacent properties. So it's important that we try to get nuisance properties under control a little bit, really to protect everybody. And Kevin will be reaching out to those property owners, and he's getting a very good response from a lot of them. And so I thank him for that. Purchasing protocol is, who is it? Is this Storm or Christian? Christian, go ahead.
Okay, Christian Petricone is chair of the ad hoc committee. This is not a forever committee. Right now, this is a combination of the chair, Bill Robinson, the chair for the Water Commission, in conjunction with the budget, the entire Budget and Finance Committee, Chris Craig, Storm, and myself, and then Deb Kelly. So right now we're a meeting, I think we're going on meeting 5. And so we're working on procurement that's for the entire town, not just the Water Commission, but the entire town. And this policy will, right now we're working on an e-system to do submittals of proposals and to receive formal bids from vendors. So this is electronic. It should make it easier on us instead of doing these paper systems. We'll be able to track the bids. We'll be able to, matter of fact, the vendor cannot submit an incomplete bid. It won't send. We have to complete it properly. So we think we're going to get a better result out of it. And right now we're talking to a vendor. Storm, do you want to mention anything about it?
Yeah, you covered the basics well. It's a company called Infotech, and the platform is called Bid Express. Please don't mind the train. There will be some training involved for the people on our side who will run it, but it has full support. It's also tied in with a network of folks, vendors, contractors who look for these type of opportunities. So in addition to the benefits of the platform being one where people can't make mistakes with it, we may also attract more bids. It is also still possible for vendors, for contractors to submit their bids the regular way as well, but it's likely that most will see the benefit of doing it electronically. It really will make the whole process easier, more accurate, and be more compliant.
Right, thank you. And then we're working on another thing. It's we meet tomorrow, matter of fact, at 2:00. If anybody wants to join in, you're welcome. We're discussing flow charts that Deb has put together, and we're going to critique them and come up with additional suggestions and ideas to it. But she has done a yeoman's job on these charts. And
What's this for again?
This is for the procurement process. The procurement process at different money levels, like from 0 to 2,500. We may have one process. 2,500 to 10,000 would have another process. A workflow. Okay, so that's it. This is in works, and hopefully we'll be wrapping up soon.
Thank you, Christian. Budget and finance.
Oh, me again. Okay, so I'll take this one on. This is a discussion action regarding funding for up to $700 for the upcoming Art in the Park event. And this is an event that will be hosted by the Parks and Rec Committee of Harpers Ferry. This event will be on October 23rd with a rain date, which is smart, of the 24th. And this is to purchase supplies like pumpkins, paint. You know, it's the autumn, it's Halloween time. So the Budget and Finance Committee recommends that the Town Council approve up to $700 from the account 906 for funding the supplies needed for the upcoming Art in the Park event on October 23rd, 2021, sponsored by the Parks and Rec Commission.
Thank you, Christian. There's a motion to approve. So moved. Do I have a second? Second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to approve up to $700 for the Parks and Rec for a Halloween event? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your hand.
I'm sorry, who made the second on that?
Chris did, and moved by Jim. Okay, Christian.
Okay, now we have another event. Okay, this is for, whoops, let me get I covered the wrong thing here. Okay, so the next one is discussion and action regarding funding up to $100 for the annual Halloween event held by Parks and Rec. And this is a big deal, guys. I mean, especially for our children, we have a lot. and maybe visitors. And also, we didn't do it last year, so we're gonna do it this year. So this is to fund the purchase of trick or treat candy and other handouts with the children. And I guess some adults can participate as well. So they're looking for $100 funding. So the Budget and Finance Committee, is my motion, or our motion. The Budget and Finance Committee recommends that the town council approve up to $100 from the account number 402 for funding the upcoming annual Halloween event run by the Parks and Rec Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? We have a motion from Christian, we have a second on the motion. We got a second on the motion from Jim. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Thank you.
What is that budget line item?
The budget line number, and it is 402. And the motion is all
Economic
written.
development.
Economic development.
Christian, I just have one question on that $100. I'm curious, maybe this was done under the previous administration. Maybe you all have a policy in place, but I'm curious, it's $100. And if this was in the budget, the annual budget for Parks and Rec, why is it necessary for Parks and Rec to now have to come forward with just $100 to get approved? Why can't the Parks and Rec have the authority to stay within their budget if it's under 500?
Yeah, well, we've had long discussions about this, Deb and I, and this is to give us a second look at it. The first council actually approved the budget from 2020.
For this 2022 year.
Yeah, the
In
2022
the
year.
spring.
But as we bring up these funding requests, we put it back through again for approval.
I mean, I could see it for like $500, but for $100 or $50. I mean, I don't know.
Well, first of all, they were already coming forward for the other event, so this was just kind of a
Tag
test.
along. I think if it had only been that one, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. And also their budget in particular, when it was approved back in the spring, and all last year, they did nothing because of COVID. And so they're kind of stepping back in the water with the COVID situation. And so this was just sort of a revisit at things that were going to be on, things they were not going to be on. So if it had only been that item, we probably wouldn't have come forward.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
$1,000 we can talk.
Right. Thanks. Okay, Water Department. Wait a minute, now did we approve the?
Yeah. It was so fast.
All right, what's up next? Bill, okay. And you got Andrew Lee is in as an attendee too. Were you anticipating him? Andrew Lee? Okay, all right. Well, I didn't remember sending an invitation. All right, Bill's on his way in here. There he is. You are muted, Mr. Robinson. There we go.
Good evening, Bill.
Mr. Robinson, yikes. Good evening, everyone. I only get called Mr. Robinson when I'm in trouble. That's what I expect from, the chief with the lights on. All right, here, let me get it. Okay, so we have some good news. For the month of September, we had our third highest volume of water delivered to customers. I would say sold to customers, but that transaction hasn't been completed yet. So it's been delivered for the year, and our water loss is the lowest it's been in 4 months at 16.8%, which is very good for us. We're pleased with that. We've had a water main break on Church Street as of today. I think it's been leaking for a while and it has now become acute, and repairs will be underway tomorrow morning. I think it's, for those of you who live on or near High Street, I think there's some water on the road. That's going to be addressed. Our operator in training left our employee this month for a job elsewhere. And as a result, staffing will be tight over the immediate future as we are, in order to coordinate with the construction, we're having to run the plant overnight. They have to depressurize one of the lines during the day because they're jackhammering near it, and we don't want that pipe under pressure while they do that. So that means we have to have an operator, class 2 operator on site at all times. And that's either Chris Spanos or Chris Steyer. So they're trading out shifts. We have an advertisement that's already gone out seeking applications for this position. And we will update you as that process continues. We are in the process of collecting estimates for the sludge removal in the lower sedimentation tanks. We found a new modality for removal. It involves tanker trucks, and it should take a lot less time. We're collecting estimates now, and we'll be able to remove the sludge more rapidly, and that will help us accommodate the construction deadlines that are looming, and also will facilitate ordering some of the valves and parts that we need because of logistical issues and supply chain issues. We need to get those parts ordered as soon as possible, because some things are taking 6 to 8 months to get to the site. And on a less good news, our promising new recommendation for the Water Commission seat from Bolivar has withdrawn herself from consideration due to a new work position. Bolivar has indicated that they addressed this matter at their last town council meeting, and we hope to have news from them soon. So we're still planning on filling that seat, and I think Bolivar is still very, very excited about the opportunity to do so. So hopefully that will take care of itself shortly. Any questions?
Questions, Bill?
Yeah, I have
Sure.
a question.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, Bill,
Yeah. Storm, go ahead.
thank you. So there's the leak on Church Street. Does that include the pipe on High Street as well, or is that part of the park service?
I'm not sure if there's more than one break. Chris Steyer indicated that it was a water main break on Church Street that is flowing onto High Street.
Yeah, there's definitely, as you walk between Public Way and Hog Alley along the Park Service side, a pipe that's literally got a bunch of pinholes. There are a couple of cones by it, so I'm guessing it's part of that work, but just.
Okay, well, I have not had eyes on it, so I don't know for personally, but I expect that they will be addressing all of that.
Cool, thank you.
Starting
Bill, let me address that.
Sure.
Storm, that 4-inch pipe on High Street that has all the pinholes in it, that is a separate issue from the Church Street. The one on High Street has been pouring that water out now for quite a while. I've met with the superintendent of the Park Service regarding that issue. There is a question as to where that 4-inch pipe originates.
Yep.
We think it terminates at Hog Alley at the rain where the what's that called? When the rain goes down the
Storm drain.
storm drain. Thank you. We think it terminates at the storm drain. The origin is close to Karen's property somewhere, and they've lost the trace. They can't figure out where it originates. We know that it's not on town property. We know that it's not a water line.
Mhm.
And so it's an issue, I believe, and I talked to the superintendent about it. It's an issue from my perspective between the Park Service and Department of Highways, because the Department of Highways maintains a right-of-way in that area. And I've talked with the superintendent, and I'm willing to, work with whoever is going to take that on. But my concern and all of our concerns should be December, January, and February,
Yeah.
when that begins to freeze over like it happened several years ago. So Storm, the two separate issues, we're on top of it, and hopefully between the Park Service, Department of Highways, they can work something out, and we will gladly assist whatever we can do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's at least a relief that it's not a leak coming out of the water system.
Correct. We have enough of those already. Thank
We're
you.
hoping,
Bill,
we're hoping to fix those generally. All right, next, I have the engineer's report for.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
The contractor has poured the slope grout floor at the pre-sedimentation basin. They've done a leak test and the concrete penetration test at the flocculation tank. The walls are built at the effluent trough, and they're shoring up the false work for the elevated slab and placed the reinforcement at the raw water intake structure. The roof insulation and the light fixture installations are done. And I don't know that whether they've done all the removal of the old lighting yet or not. But they've begun the electrical work at the water treatment facility building. And they've completed the excavation and piping work at the new clear well. A while back, they installed the new septic holding tank, and it's got it doesn't drain anywhere. It has to be manually drained, and it has an alarm in it that lets us know when it's getting full so we can have them pipe it out. They plan to begin the installation of the sludge collection system at the pre-sedimentation basin, installing the process piping and slide gates at the flocculation tank, and perform a water leak test at the effluent trough, construct the concrete walls for the influent trough and the elevated slab at the raw water intake structure, along with the electrical and site piping installation. GD&F RPR Dave Gutsky has continued on-site full-time inspection duties and has been coordinating efforts between Alvarez and Harpers Ferry personnel. GD&F has received 54 submittals to date, most of which have been reviewed and returned. Roofing and ceiling submittals have been reviewed along with several other equipment and material submittals. Several requests for information, RFIs, have also been processed. Alvarez received payment for pay application number 5 in the amount of $244,693.71 and submitted application for payment number 6 in the amount of $390,034.66. This application has been reviewed and approved by GD&F, along with the monthly engineering costs through August of $17,467.16, which will be submitted to the USDA as part of resolution requisition number 7, which totals $407,501.82.
Okay, and you're seeking approval for that, correct, Bill?
Yep, that. I have a resolution for that.
Okay.
This amount should be deposited in the corporation's USDA account, et cetera, et cetera. The 5th progress meeting took place on September 29th, 2021, and the 6th progress meeting is scheduled for October 28th, 2021 at 9 a.m. and will be held on site in the plant. Hey. Never mind the dog. Any questions?
No question.
Okay. We have before us resolution number 7 of the town of Harpers Ferry approving the invoices related to the construction project. Whereas the town of Harpers Ferry has reviewed the invoices attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference in relation to the construction of the water project funded by the United States Department of Agriculture, and find as follows. None of the items for which payment is proposed have been requested from another source. Each item for which payment is proposed to be paid is or was necessary in connection with the project and constitutes the cost of the project. Each of such costs has been otherwise properly incurred, and the payment for each of the items is proposed is due and owing. And I guess at this point we can just have a, I can't make the motion, but
I'll make it.
All right.
I move to approve paying the invoices for the water treatment plant improvements for resolution number 7.
The amount of
An amount of $407,501.82.
that's correct.
Any second on the motion? We have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to approve resolution number 7? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0, Kevin. Thank you. Anything else, Bill?
I believe that's it.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Bill.
Thank you, sir.
Is Chris online?
Yes, I'm just getting him in it. It's been a little not wanting to cooperate with me.
As it has been all night long. All right, there we go. Okay, there he is. And sorry,
Hi.
Chris, I somehow your name dropped off of the main list this time. I apologize for the last minute.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, I have an echo in my so I'm if you guys can hear me, I just wanted to say one thing, Mayor. I will not be able to be there at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
One more time.
You won't be able
Say
to.
you won't be able to be at the town hall.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
Okay, so,
Yep. I can't really
All
hear
right.
you guys for some reason.
okay,
Thank you.
very good then. We'll,
Yep.
all right.
Okay.
ORC.
Why is this not
Okay.
working?
I'll turn all four of them over to you.
Yes, give me just a second to pull that. Okay, so you have 4 ordinances before you this evening. 2 of these are for second final reading, 2 are for first reading. So the first one that we have is ordinance number 2021-06, an ordinance to amend Article 901 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry, creating a seat on the Water Commission for a voting representative resident in the Corporation of Bolivar. And first reading of that ordinance was approved on 13th of September.
Motion to approve the second reading for ordinance 2021-06. So moved. Do I have a second on the motion to approve? You have a second from Laura. Any discussion on the motion to approve? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Vote. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay,
That was 7-0, Kevin.
the next one is ordinance number 2021-07, an ordinance to amend Article 320 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry related to the parking and standing of commercial or recreational vehicles and food trucks. And this is second and final reading. First reading was approved on the 13th of September.
Do I have a motion to approve 2021-07? I have a motion to approve from Chris. Do I have a second on the motion? We have a second from Laura. Any discussion on the motion to approve 2021-07? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0. Kevin?
Okay, so the next one we have is first reading of ordinance number 2021-08. This is an ordinance to amend Article 1311 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry, amending permitted uses of short-term rentals for compliance with current West Virginia code. West Virginia code was amended to the effect that we are no longer able to regulate short-term rentals separate from any other rental property within the corporation. So this ordinance brings our codified ordinances into compliance with state code.
Because we're a home rule. Right.
Do I have a motion to approve 2021-08 for first reading? We have a motion to approve from Christian. Do I have a second to approve? We have a second from Chris. Do we have any discussion on the motion to approve 2021-08? Laurel?
Just want to make a comment. So on number 2 on this ordinance, it talks about the taxes that they would pay. And room occupancy taxes. Would that be the same as, what exactly are room occupancy taxes? Does that also have another name?
That's hotel motel.
Hotel, motel.
Okay, so we collect those taxes.
Correct.
Because I understand that some places that do not serve breakfast may claim that they are not B&Bs, so they don't have to pay that tax. But what I'm glad to see in this ordinance is that it says it specifically here that they are liable for those taxes.
That's been a requirement for several years. there certainly may have been some businesses who did not comply, but.
And it would be the case with the hotel too, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Motion passes 7-0. Kevin?
Okay, the next one is ordinance number 2021-09, an ordinance to amend Article 905 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry, increasing the water leak adjustment rate. I believe this increase, it's one change in that entire codified ordinance.
That change is located on page, whatever.
What does it mean, incremental leak adjustment?
So if you have a water leak on your side of the meter,
Okay.
you still have to pay a certain amount, but it's not the full amount that you would pay under normal circumstances. And I think you only get to use that once.
Yeah, it's a risk. You can't every time you have some problem, you can't be running and saying, I did this.
Right.
It's a limited use option and you have to apply for it and it has to be approved and yeah.
Right. And so that rate is currently 60 cents per 1,000 gallons of water. This would increase it to 84 cents, which was recommendation. I want to say that came from PSD.
No, it came from Chuck because it has to do with the new rate that's in place. And so we were able to get that level because of pro forma calculations that he did that are based on the new costs of manufacturing water after we get the new plant in place.
Do we have a motion to approve 2021-09 first reading?
I still move.
Do I have a second on the motion? Second from Roy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0. Thank you. Kevin?
Okay, and the last thing we have on the agenda from the Ordinance Review Committee is an update on the status of the fence ordinance. At our last Ordinance Review Committee meeting, we discussed the different proposals that have been made, draft ordinances that have been put forth over the last couple of years concerning fences, and also the draft ordinance that you submitted to us. The Planning Commission also has been charged with reviewing the fence ordinance. So we felt that that your draft ordinance was good, but it wasn't quite comprehensive enough. We felt that the draft ordinance from 2019 was addressed more of the potential property line and other issues that might arise. And so our recommendation to the Planning Commission is to consider that draft ordinance from 2019. And if they feel that there are any legal questions that they might have, that they should probably submit those to our town attorney. Right? We felt that was the best option.
Right. And I don't have a problem with that, Ken. I just submitted that draft to get things moving. Right. And obviously it has served its purpose. So thank you for taking that up. It's an important one. And it is a detriment to our ordinance compliance officer trying to do his job, because every time he goes out to look at a fence, he then has to send it to DZA because we have no governing document to govern fences. So thank you, Kevin, for following up on that.
Thank you.
Okay, Parks and Rec. I had that before you or before me. I'm going to read this for Patty. The commission is announcing, Parks and Rec Commission is announcing 2 fun events planned for the month of October. I think a little bit of this was previously discussed, but I'll do it again. On Saturday, October 23rd, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Parks and Rec is holding the Art in the Park event at the Children's Park located across the street from the Women's Clubhouse. This is a free event open to children and adults alike. The commission will provide 50 pumpkins for painting and available on a first-come, first-served basis. There will also be materials for craft gear for young children. All materials and supplies are provided by the Parks and Rec Commission. On Sunday, October 31, from 6 to 8 p.m., the commission will sponsor a Halloween trick-or-treat event located at the gazebo on Washington Street. A table of treats will be available for pickup. by the children who stop by. If residents would like to participate in handing out candy on Halloween, please remember to leave your porch light on as a signal to stop by. And Patty wants everyone to make sure that you mark your calendars and stop by these two events and support them. Planning Commission, is there anyone?
No.
Okay, nothing for the plan, that's what good. Landmarks,
I can tell, I serve on landmarks. I guess I'm the liaison. I can just say the outstanding issues we did not meet. We did not meet last month. So we're working on the light bulbs for the street lights. We're trying to find bulbs that actually will fit in our current fixtures. And that will still be enough light to offer safety for pedestrians and vehicles. So that's works. The second is we've been working on a welcome letter to new residents, mainly to help them to understand the importance of keeping their property or maintaining their properties as well as improving their properties in a historic manner that is compliant with the Historic Landmarks Commission and our rules, for Harper's Ferry. And then finally, the Weaver House was discussed in the last meeting. We are submitting or at least Guy, chair of the committee, is submitting a grant to do further study, a small grant to do a further study on this property. And that's what the grant's for, to study that property.
Would that be to the SHPO or is that?
I'm not sure who I don't remember exactly who, but it's not the National Park Service one, the big one. This is a very small grant.
thank you, Christian. Unfinished business, discussion action regarding making a final decision for improving High Street pedestrian traffic as proposed by West Virginia DOH. Christian, did you want to?
Yeah, let me
discuss this a little bit?
talk about this. I'm pretty experienced with this because this issue of the High Street sidewalk improvement has been in front of the old council that I had served on, and we studied it and decided to let this council make the decision. And I suggested tonight we make the decision and we finalize this because we're getting a lot of pushback from the West Virginia Department of Highways. They're requesting that we resolve this issue soon. Yesterday. Okay. So they need direction from the town council. I've put together a motion, but I think Storm has a motion. So he is the expert on High Street. I mean, he knows more, he knows a lot.
I've forgotten more about High Street than most people will ever know. So yes, I move that the corporation, this is going to be a long motion. I move that the Corporation of Harpers Ferry pursue option 1, repair existing features from the WVDOH High Street Sidewalk Design Study, along with the following specifications. The restored and rebuilt sidewalk should comply with ADA standards and all design to the extent possible, and all design elements should enhance the block's general appearance as that of a 19th century village. The width of the sidewalk is to be increased where feasible. Opportunities to provide areas where pedestrians can pass by one another should be pursued, and flatter areas should be incorporated where possible. This will require substantial input from and collaboration with affected property owners, the Historic Landmarks Commission, and WVDOH. Where feasible, the retaining wall that separates the sidewalk from the roadway should be repaired using or incorporating historically appropriate stone. The curb along the southern edge is to be replaced using historically appropriate stone, similar to that which exists along Potomac Street currently. New historically appropriate black iron or steel decorative railing is to be installed between the sidewalk and roadway to enhance pedestrian safety. Repair or replace overhead roof downspouts to improve drainage and enhance pedestrian access. A cistern with a functioning pump is to be installed to provide water for town plantings in Lower Town. Design and all materials must be historically appropriate. Engineering and design should endeavor in general to improve stormwater management and general drainage along High Street. An historically appropriate welcome sign is to be designed and installed towards the bottom eastern end of the block. This sign should also note the town's designation as a historic district. All design elements will be subject to the approval of the town's Historic Landmarks Commission. And all final design and engineering plans must be submitted and approved by town council before construction can commence. I did all of that in one breath. I need
love it. Could you repeat that?
Sure. More slowly?
All right.
I got a question about the cistern. Where's the water from the, that goes into the cistern gonna come from?
The water that comes down the hill
From High
in rain
Street?
from High Street.
So basically, everything that's currently getting dumped into the road will be captured in a cistern, and then that water can then be used for watering whatever we choose in Lower Town.
I think that water is gonna be pretty contaminated. Coming
Well,
down
it
High Street.
would definitely not be potable, but it would be suitable.
I'm not thinking potable, I'm thinking toxic.
Well, it's whatever's coming off the roof. Sure,
When
we
we
should
get-
water vegetable gardens with it.
When we get to that point, I am sure that the DOH engineers will weigh in on that issue, Jim. I'm positive that they will. Okay.
Many of our old homes have cisterns. I have a 500 gallon
Yeah, but
cistern.
Jim's
Comes
got-
off the roof, though.
Yeah, they're coming out the roof. They're not picking up the oil and stuff.
There may be a way where the first 10 minutes it just goes through, clears off, and then it opens up.
But
But
we'll leave that.
that's in
Yeah, we'll leave that to the engineers.
I think what we're talking about is the stuff that is coming straight off the roof, not collecting up everything off the street. This is
Right.
We have the gutters.
exceed the cistern.
We have the overhead gutters with the.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have,
I'm for it.
and we have a motion to approve. We have a second from Jim. Any further discussion on the motion?
I appreciate your work on this storm, and it all sounds great. I am wondering how much freedom we have to make the specifications to the state on this grant. Do we have they given us that freedom?
Yeah, I'll address that under it right now if you want me to.
Okay.
Yeah, I have discussed this storm and council with Region 9 up in Martinsburg at length with our representative, Jennifer Wishmeyer and Rachel Snavely. And what we think that the best approach
And it was right when you started, so you just have to start again. But this screen went blank. And that is the benefit of running that other device at the same time. Yeah.
You said Jennifer Wishmeyer and everything.
Yeah,
got
right at the-
early and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so what will occur will be, we'll let them know if this passes on the vote. I will let Jennifer know. And then the next step would be, we will meet with DOH. Because you're right, Chris, there'll be some of these things that they will say, no, there's no way we can do that. It's not, and it cannot be designed that way. So my philosophy is we ask, for 10, thinking that we may hopefully get 3 or 4 or whatever. We give them the whole Christmas list and hopefully, some of the items will end up in the stocking. And that's, I I think the best way to go. We give them what we would really like to have, and then we'll leave it up to the engineers in Charleston to come here and advise us, yeah, you can do this, and no, you can't do that. But if you do this, it's gonna cost you 1.2 million, as opposed to only 400K that we have in the construction budget for this. So it's a good question, Chris, and I just say we just go forward with this, and we'll coordinate with Region 9, with Jennifer and Rachel, and then they'll hook up with DOH, and we will be getting together, I am sure, with DOH with some mods for this. So any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0, Ken.
Ken, do you need that motion from him? So you have it for the.
If he has it written down, yeah. Yeah, I just have the one that's on the.
No, mine is, he kind of took mine.
Yeah, yes, this was definitely, and along the way, Christian and I worked together on this. But yeah, Kevin, I will send you the full text.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 6D, discussion action on hiring snow removal service for 2021 snow season. I don't believe we're getting any snow this year. We may not need this, but anyway, you have before you we only received one bid. We sent it out. We got two that weren't interested, and so you have the whole package before you. The bid is from Cornerstone, who they are the company that did it last year. I will tell you that the only change this year, as far as snow removal goes, is that I have delegated the responsibility to monitor the snow process and icing to the Harpers Ferry Police Department. To me, it makes sense. They are here at all hours of the night. We don't need Christian or Kevin or Chris or Laura or Jim or me or Storm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and walking up and down the streets to see if we've got 2 inches of snow there to call in Cornerstone. That's what we have the police department that's out there. They are monitoring the safety of our streets. That's part of their responsibilities. So to me, in a small community like Harpers Ferry, it logically falls within their purview. I have discussed this with Chief Brown, and as we get closer to the snow season, we'll do additional collaboration. But I think it's the best way to go. So you have before you a proposal from Cornerstone. The chair will entertain a motion.
I have a question, which is, they have given a rate for what they would charge for in different categories, per hour or per man hour, per ton, etc. So we are free. It's really a point of clarification. Are we free then to engage some services and not others per their rates?
Sure. Yeah, but it's a matter of public safety. I mean, we just don't want to say, well, don't clear off this street, or don't worry about all that ice accumulating on there. We'll get to it tomorrow. No, we can't do that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we are not, say, obliged to ask them to clear the sidewalks if we decide that citizens need to clear their own sidewalks, for instance.
Correct.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. I just wanted to.
Sure.
I have a question too. I would really like to see the premium ice melt, the more eco-friendly used in town. And I just saw that late enough that I wasn't able to really to look at the budget, but is that a realistic thing for us?
Yeah, why not, if somebody's going to make a motion, put it into the motion that in addition to adopting this bid, we can adopt the option of, down on the bottom of page 2, if somebody would care to make a motion.
In that case, I move that we accept the bid of Cornerstone for snow removal in Harpers Ferry, with the designation that the premium ice melt be used.
For the streets and the sidewalk, is that what it's for?
Yep. Do I have a second on the motion?
A second.
We have a second from Christian. Any discussion on the motion to approve Cornerstone?
I do want to say one thing. We used them last year and it was kind of like, you know, it was their first time. They were trying to get used to us and I think they did a pretty good job last year. I think they'll even do a better job. I feel confident about that. And they know I've stressed to them how important it is to clear our parking areas, particularly on Potomac Street, because this is a revenue producing, this is our number one revenue producing item. And so we need our parking areas clear. And so we'll need to make sure that the Chief Brown and the police know that.
I can actually vouch that it's the best clearing we've had down at my dead end.
Oh, is it?
17 years or whatever that I've lived here.
I talked to the merchants in Lower Town and they said this was the sidewalks, and it was the best clearing they've had on their sidewalks in 8 years. So,
Should be happy they didn't have to do it.
yeah. That's sort of true.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Okay, 7-0. Okay, we're into discussion action on Corporation of Harpersburg representing JCDA. I'm aware that with the appointment to JCDA, Jefferson County Development Authority, they asked for 3 nominations and they select 1. I've discussed this with JCDA, how difficult it is in Harpers Ferry to get 1 person to be interested in JCDA or the Water Commission or Planning Commission or Landmarks or whatever. They are aware of that. So where they are not going to receive an option of 3, and I will be discussing this if we approve the one before us, and I will, first thing in the morning, I will call them and let them know and remind them of the previous conversation that I had with them and how difficult it is out of 285 people to find so many people to serve on our public commissions. So anyway, you should have that document. By the way, I want to lick my finger to okay. You should have it in an email from Mr. Eddie Love, High Street, Washington Street resident. You had that before you. You've all read that. And again, this is not approval. This is a recommendation from Harpers Ferry to JCDA, and they will make the final approval. Chair will entertain a motion.
I will just say that I feel like someone who goes to JCDA probably should be somebody who has already served in a commission in Harpers Ferry and done something collaborative before they represent the town of Harpers Ferry. And as I understand it, this person was actually interested in could have been interested in any commission as well. But JCDA was suggested to him, so he didn't ask for it specifically. He was interested in serving in a capacity. And I want to suggest that somebody who's new to town, it would be better to ask them to serve on a commission where they do collaborative. That's what I'm making that suggestion. And I don't know what you think about it.
Okay.
Well, this particular individual is new to the town. He is a resident of the town, so that's important. He is also an entrepreneur working in the tourism industry, which is very applicable for this position on the county. And granted, I don't know Eddie very long. He hasn't been here very long, but you know, we don't have a deep well in town of people. This has been this position, I believe, has been open for 3 months. Christy Huddle resigned, and she did a good job, but she feels we need a business person to be in this role. And I just felt that he would be a good candidate to represent the town of Harpers Ferry. Now, I agree it would be nice to have somebody from one of our other commissions to also, jump in on this, but we haven't gotten any volunteers. So I spoke to him about it because he's an entrepreneur and he's a young person. I think we need somebody younger. We're getting mostly retirees in our positions, in our commissions, and in our committees. And I felt we needed a younger person who would give a different perspective for tourism. And he's highly engaged in the short-term rental industry, which is a big thing in this town.
Thank you, Christian. I'll entertain the motion to approve. Kevin?
For appointment to a body, we do a nomination process.
I'm sorry, what?
For appointment to a body representing the town or to the town body, we do a nomination process.
Oh,
So one member will nominate.
okay,
And we vote on the nomination.
okay.
Me?
Go ahead.
Okay, I, Christian Petroconis, I am nominating Eddie Love to represent the town of Harpers, the corporation of Harpers Ferry, with the JCDA to really foster economic growth for this town.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor, or are you going to do a roll call, Kevin? Go ahead, Paul.
Christian,
Yes.
Jim Jenkins.
Aye.
Chris Gray,
Yes.
Laurel Drake, Storm,
Yes.
and I vote yes, Mayor.
Aye. Thank you. Item 7A, discussion action regarding endorsing letters to the state and local government leaders. There are two projects. We have the trail initiative that we're familiar with, and we have the High Street initiative. Both of these projects they're granted projects, and they require a match. And the match amounts to the total, somebody can help me out here.
What the match for the High Street project is 80,000.
80K for that one.
And then the canal trail, the Armory Canal Trail is $116,300.
So we have a match required of close to 200K, and we are seeking financial relief, financial assistance from our political leaders. And so we have proposed letters that we would all be signatories to, that would go to State Senator Patricia Rucker, Delegate John Doyle, and County Commission President Steve Stolper, giving them a brief outline of both initiatives and requesting any type of financial assistance they may be able to render to the corporation of Harpers Ferry. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve these letters going out, and then if we approve them, then before you leave tonight, we would all sign the three letters. Jim?
I'm going to move we approve the letters.
Do I have a second on the motion? We have a second from Christian. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, raise your hand. 7-0.
I do want to say that the mayor and Storm and Chris did a yeoman's job on this. It was really.
Thank you. And Mayor, I also wanted to mention, I understand we have a new state senator who has just replaced Senator Unger.
Okay.
Hannah Geffner is her name. I don't want a fourth letter to hold up the three tonight.
Okay.
But that is something I'd like to do at the soonest opportunity.
Absolutely. New business 7B, discussion action regarding office personnel management vacancy recruitment. This item may require executive session. Item 7C, status of litigation. Regarding both of these items, I am recommending that we go into executive session based upon West Virginia Code exemptions to the Open Meetings Act 69A-4B2A, and secondly, 69A-4B2, B12. So those are statute exceptions that we can go into executive session to discuss both of these. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a second on the motion to go into executive session for both items. We got a second from Christian. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0. We are now in executive session.
Hold on.
All right.
All right, Storm, you're going to, did you get my email?
Oh, I have not checked email since.
I
you're
sent
on
you an
here.
email this evening, so you're just gonna click on that link that will automatically eject you from this meeting. I'm gonna suspend this meeting with audio and put a share screen on that we are in executive session until that's over, okay?
And actually, it came across as an ICS. Let me see if I can do it. It's the meeting that ends 874. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah, I just sent it, 40 minutes ago.
Great. And thank you for helping out in this last minute thing. I'll explain another time.
Yeah, no worries. And I believe I have it set up so that you can just stay in that meeting and they'll turn this back on and be able to close it all out.
That's right. Well,
Okay.
That's the plan, okay?
Yeah.
and not as threats.
All right, thank you.
Christian Metcalf.
Yes. Oh, he knows me.
Tim Jenkins. Chris Craig. Kevin Carlin. And
Well, thank you for bringing in Ken Sayre. Made me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Really did.
Okay.
He's a nice guy. We'd like to check him.
The stored one?
Is he on? Oh, yeah. Will you come on?
Move we adjourn.
Yeah.
We all right, Jeff?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to exit executive session.
So moved.
Do I have a second on the motion? We have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to exit executive session? All those in favor, raise your hand. 7-0. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Pardon?
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Do I have a second? Second motion to adjourn. We have a second from Jim. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? We are adjourned at 10:07 PM. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Nine.
Break that 9 o'clock record.
Oh, I
I would have had it.
Well, I